How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tes, Daf 9 of Masechta Shevuos. Friends, your friends. Let's do it. We are talking more about like Yediyah Batrila, Yediyah Basof, Sarah Naisa Bifnim, Sir Regalim, Sir Rosh Chodesh, that kind of really fun stuff. Okay, so it's the morning here. I don't know what time it is. Maybe 5:15. I don't know. And I got coffee. Chaim. Here we go. All right. Okay. Ches Amud. We're gonna start off Ches Amud Beis, about maybe like 5-10 lines or so from the bottom to the two dots. Ein ba yediyah batchila v'yesh ba yediyah basof. If there is no Yediyah Batchila, and there is Yediyah Basof. So what happens in that case? That is the Sarah Naisa Bachutz, right? Sarah Naisa Bachutz v'makipim mechaper. Boom, nice. I get a point for that. Chule. Michte iskush le'adade. Well, the Sarah Naisa Bifnim, which is mechaper for yesh beidiyah batchila, ve'im beidiyah bat. Well, it's tole for yesh beidiyah batchila, ve'im beidiyah basof. So the sarah naisa bachutz, which is mechaper for ve'im beidiyah batchila, ve'yesh beidiyah basof. Yeah. So the sarah naisa bifnim and the sarah naisa bachutz are iskusht to one another. They are compared to one another. How so? Well, it says by the Sarah Naisa Bachutz, it says Milvad Chatas HaKippurim, or something like that. Do I have this? Do we have whatever it is? What's this? No. Let's see. Whatever. I think this. What does it say? Milvad Chatas HaKippurim. Yeah, exactly. It says by the Sarah Naisa Bachutz, it says Milvad Chatas HaKippurim, in addition to the Chatas HaKippurim, which is the Sarah Naisa Bifnim. So, be'etzem, we kind of like make a comparison, a connection between the Sarah Naisa Bachutz and the Sarah Naisa Bifnim. So once we have this connection, so michte iskush la'adadi, they're iskushed. V'nechaper pnimi adidei v'adachitzon. So therefore, why don't we suggest that since they are connected, so let's say that the Sarah Naisa Bifnim, of course, is Tole for Yesh Beidiyah Batchila Ve'em Beidiyah Basof. But let's say that it's also does the work of the Sarah Naisa Bachutz, that it's Mechaper for Ve'em Beidiyah Batchila Ve'yesh Beidiyah Basof. V'nafkemine Leichet Lo Avad Chitzon. The nafkemine is, well, what if they couldn't get an extra goat for the chitzon? So they only offered a chatas hapnimi. So would that also accomplish the kapara for ein beidiyah batchila v'yesh beidiyah basof? Amar Kra, the pasuk says achas. No, the pasuk says by Sarah Naisa Bifnim achas, that it only accomplishes one thing, and that is to be tole for yesh beidiyah batchila ve'im beidiyah basof kapara achas mechaper ve'in mechaper shnei kaparas. It's only mechaper one thing, not two. It is only tole for yesh beidiyah batchila ve'im beidiyah basof. That is all. V'nechaper chitzin adidei v'amadav pnimi. Okay, but now we ask from the other direction. Maybe the chatas achitzon, the Sarah Naisa Bachutz, can be mechaper for ein beidiyah batchila v'yesh beidiyah basof, but maybe it could also do the work of the Sarah Naisa Bifnim, which is be tole for yesh beidiyah batchila ve'ein beidiyah basof. So again, v'nechaper chitzin adid ve'amai de'ovid pnimi nafkemine le'tuma de'ira. For example, if between doing the Sarah Naisa Bifnim and the Sarah Naisa Bachutz, somebody had a yesh ba'idiyah batchila ve'en ba'idiyah basof scenario, but the Sarah Naisa B'fnim was already offered, but they didn't yet offer the Sarah Naisa B'chutz. So maybe when offering the Sarah Naisa B'chutz, it could also accomplish to be toleh for this individual. On Mikra, the pasuk says by the Sarah Naisa B'fnim, Achas Bashone Kapare Zoi Lo Tehei El Achas Bashone. That this Kapare of the Sarah Naisa B'fnim of Yesh Ba'idiyah B'tchila Ve'en Ba'idiyah Basof only gets toled once per year, and that is with the Sarah Naisa B'fnim. That's it. Nothing else can accomplish that tole, and therefore the Sarah Naisa B'chutz cannot be tole for Yesh Ba'idiyah B'tchila Ve'en Ba'idiyah Basof. I'm going to drink more coffee. It's interesting. This isn't like such a hard daf, but I think it's just going to be the tricky thing with this daf. I think is remembering what korban does what thing, and like having to keep on specifying it over and over. I think that's going to be a challenge for this daf. But the daf itself is not very difficult. It's just remembering what's what. Will there be Shmuel? Or what about Rabbi Shmuel to Omar, who says, Ein ba'yediyah batchila v'yesh ba'yediyah basof. Okay, so Ein ba'yediyah batchila v'yesh ba'yediyah basof, that is the Sarah Naisa B'chutz, Yom Kippurim mechapen. By Korbanu. Now Rabbi Shmuel, however, holds that Ein ba'yediyah batchila v'yesh ba'yediyah basof, take, you have to bring a korban. I assume that that's korban olav v'yored. So according to Rabbi Shmuel, says you have to bring a korban, so Memele, the Sarah Naisa B'chutz, is not going to be mechaper for it, because you have to bring a korban, according to Bishmo. So if that's the case, Soyer Anase Bachutz Amai mechaper, well then the Soyer Anase Bachutz, what does it accomplish? Because we were saying what it accomplishes is Ein B'yediyah B'tchila V'yesh B'yediyah Basof. According to Bishmo, that's you have to bring a korban for that. So what's the dilio with Soyer Anase Bachutz? And for the Gemara, al she'ein ba yediyah loy batchila v'loy basof. It's mechaper for when there is no yediyah batchila nor basof. I see where galim misira shechadashim mechapen, but we had said that ein ba yediyah batchila lo batchila v'lo basof. That has a kapara from sirei harigalim and Sirei Rosh Chodashim, not from Sarah Naisa B'chutz. Sover Law, Kireb Meir, well Rabbi Shmuel holds like Rabbi Meir, the Amar who said in our Mishnah, Kol HaSeirim, Kaparoson, Shaval Tumas, Mikdash V'Kodashav, that all of the Seirim, Sarah Naisa B'chutz, Sirei Regalim, Sirei Rosh Chodashim, they're all equal when it comes to Tumas Mikdash V'Kodashav, and therefore Rabbi Shmuel would hold that Sarah Naisa B'chutz would be mechaper for Ein Ba'yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof. Ela lamai hilchsa iskush chitzon lifnimi. But now the Gemara asks another interesting kasha, because we had said in the Mishnah, I believe, that the Sarah Naisa B'fnim and the Sarah Naisa B'chutz are compared. Right, as we said a few minutes ago, milvad oilas chatas hakipurim, and we had said in the Mishnah that, and just like the Sarah Naisa B'fnim is mechaper when there is a yediyah, i.e. betchila. Right, was that it? So also, or was it the opposite? I can't remember now. Right, we what does it say? Where did we say? Oh no, whatever. Base. Let's see. Come on. Okay, let's go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, video. So we had said in the Mishnah that we compare the Sarah Naisa B'chutz and the Sarah Naisa B'fnim to say that just like the Sarah Naisa B'fnim is mechaper when there's a yediyah, i.e. batchila. Well, it's tola when there's a yediyah. Batchila. So also the Sarah Naisa B'chutz is mechaper when there's a yediyah, i.e. basof. But according to Rabbi Yishmael, Sara Naisa B'chutz is for when there's Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof. So then what's the comparison between Sara Naisa B'Fnim and Sara Naisa B'chutz? Cheva, what do you think? So Elamayuch say Iskish Chitzin the Fnimi. Ma Pnimi Einu Mechaper B'Shar Averis Av Chitzin Einu Mechaper B'Shar Averis. Just like on the Pnimi. What is it? Ela B'Tumas Mizvah. Okay, fine. So just like the Sara Naisa B'Fnim is only for Tumas Mikdash V'Kodashav, as we had learned, I think yesterday, the day before. So also so that's the Sara Naisa B'Fnim. So also Sara Naisa B'Chutz is only going to be for Tumas Mikdash V'Kodashav, nothing else. Givaldik. I'm going to drink more coffee. Let's go weiter. I'm just going to rub my eye quickly. Okay. Great. Done with that. Okay, let's go weiter. Asha Ein B'Yediyah Batchila V'Lo Basof. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, when there is no Yediyah, Loi Batchila V'Loi Basof. So it says Rabbi Yehuda that the Seir Regalim, the festival Seirs, and Seir Rosh Chodashim are mechaper for that. So now, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, says the Gemara, says Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, my time with Rabbi Yehuda. How come Rabbi Yehuda says this? Amar Kar. So the pasuk says by Rosh Chodesh, right? Because he says that Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof is mechaper by the Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodesh. So it says by Rosh Chodesh, Usir Izim Echod Lechatos LaHashem. That a goat is offered for a chatos on Rosh Chodesh LaHashem chet she'ein makir boy ela Hashem yesar zeh mechaper. That this sa'ir of Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for a chatos LaHashem, i.e. a sin that only God knows about it. Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof. The guy has no clue. He was unaware that he became Tameh. He went to the Beis Mikdash. He wasn't aware that he was doing anything wrong. He never became aware that he did anything wrong. So for that, the pasuk says that the seir of Rosh Chodesh is mechaper. Seirizim echad lechatos laHashem chet she'ein makir boy ela Hashem yesar zeh mechaper. That this goat is mechaper for sins that only God knows about. Ein b'Yediyah Batchila V'Lo B'Sof. Frag the Gemara. V'haimi boile lichid Rish Lakish. But I thought that this pasuk was needed for what Rish Lakish says, which is a pretty famous thing. I think relatively famous, I'd say. Damar Rish Lakish. Manishtana Soyer Rosh Chodesh Nemer Bo LaHashem. How come specifically by the Soyer Rosh Chodesh it says LaHashem, for God? Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, Soyer Zeh, this goat, Yekapoche Olai, will be an atonement for me, Shemiatati Esayreach, because I shrink the moon, and for doing that, I am bringing this korban is for me, says the Rebbeinu Shalom, for having shrunk the moon. And Rish Lakish turns it out from the fact that it says LaHashem. See, we're saying it means that a sin that only God knows about is mechaper for. So imkain lemakra al Hashem. Well, if it was only to teach about Rish Lakish's opinion, it should say al Hashem, for God, on God. My la Hashem lichadamar. But it says la Hashem. So it's like we said that is for sins that only God, that are only to God, that only God knows about. So if that's the case, let's say that that's what the pasuk is talking about, and Rish Lakish is wrong. No, imkein nemakra chatas Hashem. Now, if it was only for what we were saying, then it would just say chatas Hashem. I guess the chatas that only God knows about. I guess my la Hashem shema minas tartim. Okay, fine. So from the fact that it doesn't say chatas Hashem, it doesn't say chatas al Hashem, it says chatas la Hashem. So we can learn out both things. We could learn out that it's mechaper for sins that only God knows about it, and also that God is bringing a korban chatas for having shrunk the moon. V'nechaper nami afilu b'shar averis. So right, if you look at Rashi, it says v'nechaper nami b'shar averis. Well, so let's say that the korban, so let's say that the Sa'ir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper also for other sins, right? Because we're saying that it's chatas la'Hashem, sins that only God knows about. So, okay, ein ba'idiyah lo batchila v'lo basof, right? When there's no yidiyah at all, okay, certainly that's something that only God knows about, that the person doesn't know about. But it says Rashi, v'nechapenam eshar averis kol chet shelo noda da'akras stomach sim. The pasuk simply says chatas Hashem, which we said means any sin that only God knows about. So why are we saying it's only by tumas mikdash v'kodoshav ein ba'idiyah batchila lo v'lo basof? But shouldn't it be any avera that a person does and he's unaware of and only God knows about it? Why is it only mechaper for tumas mikdash v'kodoshav? So v'nechaper nami afilu b'shar averis. The Sirish Chodesh should atone even for other averas, any avera that a person was unaware of, that only God knows about. Tanit Rabbi Shmuel, who's taught by the Besmedrash Rabbi Shmuel, Ho'il v'zeba bizman kavua v'zeba bizman kavua. Well, since the Sari Rosh Chodesh, of course, comes at a specific time, i.e. on Rosh Chodesh, and also the Sari Yom Kippurim comes at a specific time on Yom Kippur. Where am I? Well, just like the Sari of Yom Kippur is only mechaper for tumas mikdash v'kodoshav, zeinu mechaper ela al tumas mikdash v'kodoshav. So also the Sa'ir Rosh Chodesh is only mechaper for tumas mikdash v'kodoshav, nothing else. Ashkechon Sa'ir Rosh Chodashim Sa'ir Regalim Minal. So now says the Gemara. Excuse me, I'm just gonna quickly rub my nose. Sorry, Mom. So Givaldik. So we just showed how Rabbi Yehuda knows that by Sa'ir Rosh Chodesh it's mechaper ve'en b'yediyah but lo batchila v'lo basof. Rabbi Yehuda says that the same is true of Sa'ir Regalim. How does Rabbi Yehuda know that? So says the Gemara, Ashkechon Sa'ir Rosh Chodashim. Great. So we just figured out, we just showed, demonstrated why Sa'ir Rosh Chodashim and mechaper for ein b'yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof Sa'ir Regalim and all. And how do we know that the same is true of Sa'ir Regalim? I'm going to drink a little bit more coffee. Givaldig, I hope you enjoyed your break. V'chi tema ha nami k'detana d'ver b'shmal. Well, maybe suggest also like the Tana d'ver b'shmal that just like that Sa'ir Regalim comes at specific times, right, and the festivals, and Yom Kippur comes at specific times. So so therefore it's mechaber v'tumas mikdash v'kodoshav. Maybe compare it to Rosh Chodesh and say that it's for ein b'yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof. But ikal mifrach, you can ask imid Rosh Chodesh shekein tadir imid Yom Kippurim shekein meruba kapara. So the thing is, you can't really compare Sa'ir Regalim to neither the Sa'ir Rosh Chodesh nor to the Sa'ir Yom HaKippurim, because Rosh Chodesh is Tadir. Every single month is Rosh Chodesh. It's frequent. Therefore, that makes it kind of unique. And Yom Kippur is unique in that there's lots of atonements that day. What is that? Yom Kippur? Shu mechaper al kol averis. Tomer v'galim v'aval bidich sidbu lechaper eimel mechaper amidid oven kares. Maybe Yom Kippur, which is mechaper for all things, even kares is, but it wouldn't necessarily say the same thing of by Rosh Chodesh, by the Sa'ir Regalim. So therefore, we can't just blindly compare the Sa'ir Regalim to Sa'ir Rosh Chodesh, which is Tadir, which is frequent, or to Yom Kippur, where there's like lots of atonements on that day, and significant atonements, even for Chiyuvei Kares. And if you're going to say, and if you're going to say, well, wait, why all of a sudden are you getting all upset when we try comparing Sir Regalim to the other, to Sir Rosh Chodesh, to Sir Yom Kippur. And yet we didn't have any problem comparing Sir Rosh Chodashim to Yom Kippur. Why all of a sudden you're just putting up, you're getting excited when we try to do the same for Sir Regalim? Because the answer is, Hasam Kapara Michtov Ksiva Galuye Milsa Be'almahu. The difference is, when did we make the comparison by Rosh Chodesh? After we had already proven from the Pasuk that it said, Usirizim Echad L'chatas L'Hashem. And we said L'chatas L'Hashem means an Avera that only God knows about. So we had already known that the Seir Rosh with the Seir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for when there's no yediyah. We already knew that. The question was, what's the scope of it? Is it for all sins that only God knows about, or is it specifically for Tumas Mikdash v'Kodashim? We didn't know. So for that, we compared Seir Rosh Chodesh to Yom Kippur to limit the scope and say, just like on Yom Kippur it's limited to Tumas Mikdash v'Kodashim, so the same thing is by Rosh Chodesh. However, by Seir Regalim, we're trying to use this comparison for the whole thing. How do we know that Seir Regalim are mechaper for Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof? We're trying to use this comparison to learn Bichlal that it could be mechaper for anything. Right? When it came to Seir Rosh Chodesh, we had already known that Seir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for when there's no yediyah, and we just had to kind of fine-tune it, and we fine-tuned it with the comparison to Yom Kippur. But here we're like trying to learn out the whole concept of Seir Regalim working bichlal for Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof from the comparison, and that's too much. But Azam Kapar Michtav Ksiva. By Rosh Chodesh, we already knew that the Seir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for when it's only known to God, when there's no yediyah. Galuya Milsa Ba'almo, and we just needed to kind of fine tune it and highlight, shed some light on the scope of it, the scale of it, to say that it's limited to Tumas Mikdash v'Kodoshim. But over here by Seir Regalim, Ikal Meimar Kula Milsa Lo Gaminon. But over here, when we're trying to use this comparison to Rosh Chodesh and Yom Kippur to learn the etzem idea with the whole possibility of this, of Seir Regalim working for Lo Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof, that's too much. Elek Adam Reb Chama Reb Chanina, Reb Chama Reb Chanina, Seir u Seir. Hachanami Seir u Seir. Reb Chama Reb Chanina has a lima that I think we're going to learn tomorrow, that basically the pasuk could have said Seir is in, but it says u Seir. The extra vav is going to be Mosif. V'iskush Seir Regalim l'Seir Rosh Chodashim, Masir Rosh Chodashim en mechapen elo Hashem B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof, Seir Regalim ein mechapen elo Hashem B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof. That if you look at the psukim over there in Sefer Bamidbar, I think it's Parshas Pinchas maybe. So over there, there's the parsha of the Seir Rosh Chodesh, and of course we know that Seir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof. But then the very next parsha is Seir Regalim, is Pesach, and it says over there Useir. There's the extra vav to add to the previous thing, so to make a connection to the previous one, and therefore does Rashi say something here? Vav Mosif Alin Rishon. Anyways, so we connect the Rosh Chodesh and Seir Regalim, in this case Pesach, and we say that just like by Seir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof, so the Zel Bazach do the same thing by Seir Regalim. It's mechaper for Ein B'Yediyah Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Sof. I'm going to read that again inside. Elek Amar Reb Chama Reb Chanina Seir u Seir Hachanami Seir Usir, just like Reb Chama Reb Chanina says Seir Usir, so we'll apply the same concept over here. Ve'iskush Seir Regalim, the Seir Rosh Chodashim, that we connect, we compare Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodashim, Masir Rosh Chodashim, in Mechapin Ella, Hashem Ba'idiyah Lo B'tchila V'Lo B'Sof, just like Seir Chodashim, Rosh Chodashim are for Ein Ba'idiyah Lo B'tchila V'Lo B'Sof, Af, Seir Regalim, in Mechapin Ella, Hashem Ba'idiyah Lo B'tchila V'Lo B'Sof, so also Seir Regalim are Mechaper for Ein Ba'idiyah Lo B'tchila V'Lo B'Sof. Ibaya lehu the asakasha K'am Rabbi Yehuda al she'ein ba'yidiyah lo batchila v'lo ba'sof. When Rabbi Yehuda talks about ein ba'yidiyah lo batchila v'lo ba'sof, animile b'chet she'ein sofo livoda avachet she'sofo livoda k'mi sheyesh yidiyah ba'sof dami u'seir hanaise b'chutz v'yom kippur mechaper o dilma afilu chet she'sofo livoda hashta miyah Chet she'ein makir bo el Hashem karina bey. What if the guy is going to find out, right? So meaning, so Rabbi Yehuda had said, ein ba'yidiyah lo batchila v'lo ba'sof. So Sir Regalim and Sir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for that. Now, what if people saw this guy become Tameh, and they go into the Beis Hamikdash? Now, this guy had no clue. He didn't realize. Ein ba'yidiyah, he didn't realize. So he doesn't know. And then he goes into the Beis Hamikdash, and he was never going to know. But people saw him, and they're going to let him know. They're going to tell him. Which means, Memele, it's going to become a scenario of Ein ba'yidiyah batchila v'yesh ba'yidiyah basof, which that's the work of the Sarei Naisa b'chutz and Yom Kippur. But currently, he doesn't know. We haven't informed him yet. So this scenario where the guy doesn't currently know, but he's going to be informed, soon. So is that considered ein ba'yidiyah but lo batchila v'lo ba'sof because right now he doesn't know? Or is it considered ein ba'yidiyah batchila v'yesh ba'yidiyah ba'sof since they're going to let him know? The nafek yamina is which korban is going to be mechaper? Sarei Naisa b'chutz or Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodashim? Chevra, what do you think? Flip a coin. So again, Ibadu de Asakasha, Ki Amar Rabbi Yehuda, when Rabbi Yehuda says Al she'ein ba'yidiyah lo batchila v'lo ba'sof, and for that the Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodashim are mechaper, is that Hani Milei b'chet she'ein sofo livada? Is that specifically when there's no idea about Tchila, and also he's never going to find out about it because nobody saw. He's not going to find out. But if people saw, and they're going to let him know, so would it be considered yesh? Right. So ein ba'yidiyah batchila v'yesh ba'yidiyah basof v'sarei naisa b'chutz v'yom kippur mechaper, and for that it's a sarei naisa b'chutz and Yom Kippur. O Dilma, or perhaps afilu chet shesof livada, even when he's going to be informed, hashtamia chet she'ein makir bo el Hashem karina bey. But for now, it's a sin that only God knows about, because right now he doesn't know about it, the person. So therefore, Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodashim should work. So Tashma, Titania al she'ein ba yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof. That we have a brayso where it says when there's no idea, lo batchila v'lo basof v'chet shesof livada, and also even a chet shesof livada that he's going to be informed about. Nonetheless, Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodashim mechaper. The Rabbi Yehuda says that Seir Regalim and Seir Rosh Chodashim are mechaper for that. Givaldik. I'll drink a little bit more coffee now. Okay. Reb Shimon Omer, Seir Regalim mechaprim, avalo Seir Rosh Chodashim v'chulei. Oh, so Reb Shimon says that when it comes to ein ba'yidiyah lo batchila v'lo basof, that is mechapered by Seir Regalim. Seir Rosh Chodashim, however, are for something else. That's for tar she'achol es hatomi. Amar Belazar, Amar Boshaya, my time de Reb Sherman, Says Rabbi Elazar B'Shaya, how come Rabbi Sherman says this? Amar Kra, because the pasuk says, "Ve'osa nosin lochem lose," says Ovin or Eidov Aikra b'Sari Dorish Chodesh Ksiv. By the Chanukas HaMishkan and by Yom Hashmini and Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and there's the Chanukas HaMizbeach. Well, I think it was the first day of the Chanukas HaMizbeach, but it was the Chanukas HaMishkan. Right, we just read, I think it was last week's parsha, at least for me. Anyways, so it says there in a pasuk about it was the animal, it was the korban that got burnt. Anyways, so it says ve'osa, and it nosin lochem lose, says ovin ha'edav aikra b'sari d'rosh chodesh ksiv. This verse is by the Sari Rosh Chodesh. It was the first of Nisan. It was Rosh Chodesh, and this verse was by the Sari Rosh Chodesh. And it says v'yolav ovin mitzitz, that in that pasuk it says v'osa nosin lochem lose is ovin ha'eda, and also it says ovin by the tzitz, by the plate that the Kohen Gadol would wear on his forehead. Nemar kan ovin v'nemar lalan ovin. It says ovin both by the Sari Rosh Chodesh as well as the tzitz. Malaholin tumas boser, just like the tzitz is mechaper for tumas boser, right? So if the meat of a korban becomes tameh before it goes on the mizbeach, you should not put it on the mizbeach. But if you did, so the tzitz is meratzeh for that, and the korban is okay. So the tzitz is meratzeh for the meat. It's not talking about people that are tameh. It's talking about meat that's tameh. So afkan tumis boser. So here also, it's talking about tar she'achal es tameh, that the meat was tameh, and the Sirei Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for tar she'achal es tameh. Imal olin olin afkan olin. Well, if that's the case, just like over there, it's talking about meat that was on the mizbeach. So here also, why don't we say, if we're comparing, if we're saying oven, making a gzera shava between Sirei Rosh Chodesh and the tzitz, well, let's say that it's meratzah for the same exact thing. It's mechaber for the same thing. Just like the tzitz is for meat that's on the mizbeach, so I'll say that the Sirei Rosh Chodesh is mechaber for meat that's on the mizbeach, not tar she'achal es tameh. Ovin ha'eda ksiv. Yeah, but the pasuk says by Sirei Rosh Chodesh ovin ha'eda, the sin of the people, not the sin of the of the meat on the mizbeach. Meaning a person, a tar she'achal es tameh. Michdei migmar gamrei me'adode. So now the Gemara says, well, we have this gzera shava, oven, and we learn out Sirei Rosh Chodesh and tzitz from one another. So why don't we say that they are mechaper for each other? Nechaper d'Rosh Chodesh adidei ve'ad tzitz. Let's say that the Sirei Rosh Chodesh works for tar she'achal es tameh, but also for tumas for tumas hakochim, right? For kilu meat that's tameh. So nafkemine lechadinish bar tzitz. What if the tzitz breaks and there is no tzitz right now? So maybe the Sirei Rosh Chodesh could do the work of the tzitz. Amar Kra, the pasuk says oven, singular sin. Oven echad unose benose beis avonis. The Sirei Rosh Chodesh is only for one sin, that of tar she'achal es tameh, not for anything else. Now we suggest fakert, that the tzitz should be able to be meratzeh for tumas hakochim, but also for tar she'achal es tameh. Nafkamine lituma deira bein zeloze. Right? For example, if after the Sirei Rosh Chodesh you have a tar she'achal es tameh, so maybe the tzitz could be meratzeh for that. So Makra, the pasuk says osa. It says by the Sirei Rosh Chodesh osa it. Osa nosei oven ve'ein acheres nosei oven. That the Sirei Rosh Chodesh is what is mechaper for tar she'achal es tameh. Nothing else will be mechaper for tar she'achal es tameh. Rav Ashi Omer says Rav Ashi ksiv acha oven or eda. Rav Ashi gives a different resolution to this question, which is that it says by Sirei Rosh Chodesh oven ha'eda. Eda v'lo kachim. It's mechaper for the people. Tar she'achal es tameh. It is not mechaper it's not meratza for tumas hakochim, for meat of a korban that became tummy. And by tzitz it says avan hakochim, specifically for korbanos, not for people, not for tar shachal esat tummy. Ashkechan sir rosh chodashim the mechaper atar shachal esat tummy. Sir galam the mechaper ashem ba yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof minalan. So we just explained how Reb Shimon knows that Sir Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for tar shachal esat tummy. How does he know that Sir Galim is mechaper for ein b'yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof? I'm going to drink a little more coffee. I think basically at the end of the coffee over here. Kidam Rab Chanina seir useir achanami seir useir. Okay, so like we had quoted from Rab Chanina earlier, seir useir achanami seir useir. There's the extra vav, right, between Rosh Chodesh and Seir Regalim. V'izkush Seir Regalim Seir Rosh Chodesh Masir de Rosh Chodesh b'milsa de Kodesh mechaper av Seir Regalim b'milsa de Kodesh mechaper. Okay, so just like Seir Rosh Chodesh is with regard to something related to Kodshim, right? Tar shachal esat tummy. So also Seir Regalim are related to Kodshim. Okay, v'chitema nichapru ad Rosh Chodesh, and if you're going to say, well then let the Seir Regalim also be mechaper for Rosh Chodesh. Ha'aminan osa nosei oven v'enachin nosei oven. But we had said just a minute ago that it says by Seir Rosh Chodashim osa that only the Seir Rosh Chodashim can be mechaper for what it's mechaper for, which is tar shachal esat tummy. Okay, v'chitema nichapru ad yom kippurim. And if you're going to say that the Seir Regalim should be mechaper for Yom Kippur, okay, if you say that the Seir Regalim should be mechaper for Yom Kippur, because we're saying that it's for Kodshim, right? So let it be mechaper for the Seir Nasa b'chutz on Yom Kippur also, which is mechaper for ein b'yediyah lo batchila, for ein b'yediyah batchila v'yesh b'yediyah basof. Ha'aminan achaz b'shana. Well, there also by Yom Kippur we said achaz b'shana. It's only by that atonement is only going to be once a year. Kapara zolotei elo achaz b'shana. That kapara can only be once a year, and therefore it won't work for that, according to Reb Shimon. Amay mechaper. Okay, now what is the Seir Regalim mechaper for? Right, we said that we compare it to Rosh Chodesh to say that it's mechaper for b'milsa de Kodesh, something related to Kodshim. But what for? Right, we're saying it's not mechaper for whatever Rosh Chodesh is mechaper for. We said it's not mechaper for whatever Yom Kippur is mechaper for. So what is it mechaper for? So if we're talking about yesh b'yediyah batchila v'yesh b'yediyah basof, well, you have to bring a korban for that. High by korban, you have to bring a korban for that. So that's not going to be the Seir Regalim. Okay, so that of course is the Sarah Naisa Bifnim. Hi, Sarah Naisa Bifnim v'yom kippurim tole. Okay. Okay, if we're talking about ein b'yediyah batchila yesh b'yediyah basof, of course that's the Sarah Naisa b'chutz. Hi, Sarah Naisa b'chutz v'yom kippurim mechaper. Al korchech einu mechaper elo al she'ein b'yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof. So memele must be that the Seir Regalim is mechaper for ein b'yediyah batchila v'lo basof. However, we're going to stop here. That was our test of Masechta Shevuos. We've just been exploring the opinions of Rabbi Yehuda, of Reb Shimon, with their various opinions with regard to ein b'yediyah lo batchila v'lo basof, ein b'yediyah batchila v'yesh b'yediyah basof, etc. All that kind of stuff, in which, right, tar shachal esat tummy. And tomorrow we're going to kind of continue on these kind of vibes. Peace out.